right, welcome to the show this evening. Today we're going to be talking with the creator of the web comic Beware of Toddler. Um, I really don't know how I initially came across this. It must have been a Facebook algorithm or something, but it's a really fun web comic, and as a father of a young one, I can easily identify with. And he has been nominated for a Ringo Award this year, which will be taking place this weekend at the Baltimore Comic Con, which I will not be at, unfortunately. So let me go ahead and bring him in, and let's find out about him. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for taking the time to talk. So before we get started talking about your webcomic, tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you remember what if you remember your first comic you read, or maybe the first, cartoon, or what kind of sparked your interest of doing your own?
With me, like I actually remember this vividly. Um, as a kid, my family we moved into a house that was previously owned by relatives, and there were some books left behind, and a lot of them were like comic book collections, comic strip collections. There was like Calvin and Hobbes, Bloom County. I think there were like some Garfields, and that was like my first real like interaction with comics. Um, uh, and I just like I fell in love with it. And around the same time, I started like dabbling with drawing. Nothing crazy, but I thought it was fun, and I was terrible at it, but I was better than most other like third graders at the time. And I kept at it, and I stopped. I got back into it. I stopped. I got back into it, and like that was like the first time like I really got into comics. Um, and it kind of fell off a bit. And then like somewhere in high school, I just started like picking up drawing again. Found myself drawing for our school paper. Uh, they just doing like editorials. Um, won a few awards for that actually,
Hmm.
and then once again fell off again. Didn't pick it up for years, and then as a young adult, I around the time that the Boondocks cartoon started,
Yeah.
I also started reading the comics, and with that comic, and then also around that time was when like the gaming comic like boom started with like Penny Arcade and all of those imitators and VG Cats and things like that. And once again, I started picking up comics again. But around this time, I actually decided I'm going to start doing web comics, and that's actually how I started drawing web comics.
And what were some of your first comics that you did? I'm assuming I'm going to guess it's not Beware of Toddler.
No. It's my first web comic. It was a comic called The Reset Button, and it was basically me seeing, hey, these guys are making a gaming web comic. I can too. I was influenced by the Boondocks at the time. I was influenced by like Family Guy and South Park. So I thought those are the kind of comics I need to make, you know?
Yeah.
And the comics weren't great at all. Um, but I stuck with it for a couple years. And a couple years down the line, I created this other web series. Another like semi-autobiographical web series. It was called On the Grind. And at the time, I was working in a coffee shop. I've done coffee shops like my entire adult life up until this point. And you see crazy things. You see things with like customers, and like from that viewpoint, I thought that from behind the counter, there's a lot of funny scenarios. So I took those scenarios over like the 5 years at that point that I was working in coffee, and I put those into this comic strip
Hmm.
on the grind, and I kept that going for a while. Like there are like nearly 500 strips.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, man. In fact, that actually, I've got two book collections based on that. And after a while, I started getting tired of those because I made two books. Like nobody bought the books. I made 400 comics, and some people read them, but most people didn't. And people would tell me, "This is a brilliant comic." Nobody's reading them, so why continue? And somewhere like around that time, like a few years after that, like I had met my wife, and then like uh, a few years after that, like we had our son, and I'm a little older. I don't think that I don't want to do Family Guy type humor anymore. I'm like in my 30s at this time, and like you know how it is. Like the things that you like at 20, you don't really like at 30.
Yeah.
Um, so I start thinking about the reset button again. I start thinking about those characters. Like I really like the characters, but I did not like the scenarios I put them in. So I rebooted the reset button. Instead of trying to do the Family Guy shock humor thing, I made it a kids comic. Basically, I DH all the characters, um, and I wanted to see how these characters will look as children. And the thing about the reset button is it was also a video game comic, and this time I wanted to do a kids comic that kind of celebrated video games
Hmm.
and like celebrated like video games as an art form, the industry, and just like the quirks of video games. And I wanted to be able to transform that and make it work within another medium, kind of like Wreck It Ralph before Wreck It Ralph existed.
Okay.
Uh, in fact, yeah, when Wreck It Ralph came out, I was mad. I'm like, this is my comic. But I love the movie, so I can't even do that now. But so I did that. Did that once again. Another 200 comics, another book. Um, I started a reset button like floppy. I wanted to do like self-contained stories. I started working on that, and then one day my daughter, at the time my daughter was born around this time. My daughter did something crazy, and I thought it was so funny. I made a comic strip on a whim, and that's literally how Beware Toddler got started.
Well, as I can say, it's probably a something that you get inspiration every day.
Yeah, yeah, especially in the beginning, like she constantly did weird things that I had to write into the comics, and there were some things that were just 100% exactly how it played out in real life, and like toddlers are crazy. Like toddlers are like they're an enigma unto like themselves. It's insane, and like just if you just spent like well you have so like every day with a toddler can be an episode of a Beware Toddler.
I spent a year and a half in a house with one,
Yeah, and
24/7.
yeah, and especially from that viewpoint, and that's the viewpoint I wanted to take. Actually, like the stay-at-home parent part, and just like constantly being with your kid and not actually being able to leave. Um, and that brings a new dynamic. And with Tyler and with me, it kind of felt like a comedic horror movie where everybody's okay in the end. And that's kind of the angle I play it with my comics.
Yeah. So, when did when did you start getting doing the Beware the Toddler? What year? Obviously, well, your daughter was obviously born, so
Mm.
sorry.
Well, no worries. Well, that's the thing. It's only been 2 years.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, the comic itself is a toddler because it's only been around for 2 years. And I did it like right before my daughter turned two, and now she's like in preschool, and that's a whole other can of worms that I don't know if I'll even visit. But yeah, man, I've been only doing this for 2 years.
And well, trust me, I know our son started preschool, and it's after going to daycare, and there's always I've had conversations that I didn't and arguments that I never thought I was going to have.
Oh yeah.
So do you just kind of observe, what maybe what your daughter, how you're interacting with your daughter, and then kind of translate that into, your strip?
That's how it was in the beginning. I just observe like what she's doing. Or I'll just take something that actually happened and just completely just transform it like into the comic strip, like 100%. Um, Lately, like with the more recent comics, I've been doing this thing where like a lot of my newer comics are like sequels to the older comics,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'll take like certain things like when it comes to like doing her hair or like her doctor's kit, like because she loves to role play, and I'll like make like sequels so they're like series within series.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently, a thing that I've been doing is I've just been doing just like general like medical research as far as like toddlers in that stage, you know, and taking like actual like medical things and trying to make comics out of it. And that's a very recent thing, but it's something I've started recently.
Oh, and so it looks like you're getting ready to launch a Kickstarter.
I am. I announced it not that long, like a couple of days ago. This will be my first ever Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it'll be like the first season of Beware Toddler Comics. The book is called Toddlerhood, and it'll be like the first season of Beware Toddler Comics. I plan to have like production art in there. Um, I got a ton of fan art like during that first year
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to put into the book. Um, and then I'm going to create brand new comics just for the book.
Okay.
So I don't know how many I'm going to do just yet, but I'm like brainstorming them all right now. And yeah, that I'm looking forward to because they'll be like the early comics. I want them to be like early comics.
And when did you kind of join up with Webtoons?
I tried that shortly after like launch,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't do it because I thought that I would get like a bigger audience for webtoons. But when I started the website, I was kind of lazy, like I was kind of busy, and while
Hold,
I
hold on,
used like work,
a father being busy? Nah.
no such thing. But yeah, so I just did webtoons just kind of like to mirror my comic in the event that something goes down with my comic. Um, or like the website doesn't work because that has happened. It's happened with my other two comics, and then it turns out that putting on a webtoon did more for the comic than doing my own website,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't the case with like some of my other previous websites, which they do fine on their own. But with Beware Tyler, it's like webtoons and Facebook, and to a small extent Instagram. And yeah, I'm so happy that I did that, and now it's going to be like a webtoons fixture for as long as I can make it.
Now, I as I mentioned earlier, you were nominated for a Ringo. Was that Did that come as a surprise, or I mean, I know you've been, the comic is, has won other awards, but a Ringo
Mm.
award is kind of
Yeah, that is big. The comic was nominated for three Glyph Comics awards. Um, I didn't win any yet, but it's okay. I hope to one day. It has won an Independent Creator Award. But the Ringo, I pushed very hard to try to get that nominated. I didn't
hmm
think I would. Like,
hmm
I didn't think I would, but I tried just to see what if I could. And the fact that I did just like completely caught me by surprise. Like I was shocked. I was completely speechless. When I got the email, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not going to get nominated. I know I'm not. I just want to see what will happen. And lo and
yeah.
behold, here we are. Now, granted, I don't think I'm going to win this weekend, but the fact that I'm was nominated to begin with, and like with the talent that's there, like is amazing. Like,
I I haven't. I forgot to bring up a list of the other the other nominees because I was talking to you, and yeah, you're gonna win.
well, I mean, I would love to win, but if like say like Steve Conley's the middle aged one, I would not be upset because
Mhm.
that's a great comic. He's a great guy, and there are like some great people in there. So like, best of luck to everybody. I want to win, but if I don't, I'm okay with that.
And I take it you're not attending Baltimore.
I can't. I would love to. I wanted to go shortly before the pandemic started. I wasn't able to go, and then 2020 was 2020. Um,
Yeah,
it's crazy. And this year, I'm not quite ready to go back to cons just yet.
same
I'm kind of
boat.
like it's difficult. I'm dipping my toes in. Also because I also had like some health issues early in the year, so
Hmm.
I'm a little paranoid. But
Paranoid's
Baltimore is
good.
one that I would love to go to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me too. It's been it's a finance thing, but it's also the fact that my son hasn't qualified for the vaccination yet, so
Right.
I I'm not comfortable with expanding the bubble too far.
Same here. Like we've done the museum a couple of times, and you have to be like extremely careful. Like hand sanitizer every 5 minutes. Like mask on at all times, keep them close to us as possible. But that's like the extent of what we've done because like none of mine are able to be vaccinated yet. We should be hearing something about the like what is it, 5 to 11?
Yes,
Like
yeah, soon.
like very soon. My son will be able to be vaccinated, but my daughter not yet. So
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think we only have the one, so and he just turned 5, so that's definitely going to take a lot of stress off of us because I'm back. In my day job. I'm back in the office a couple days a week, but still working remote some weeks. And then my wife works part time, so but that that's a big reason why we haven't or I haven't been doing shows like New York or um, Baltimore because even if they're having the whatever you know regulations or rules for people, then it's still
a
and
lot of
I'm not
people.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet.
So no, man, I am 100% with you. Like I may go to C2E2,
Hmm.
like no kids, but just kind of see what's going on. I mean, I've got friends there. I've got friends with books that I've worked on there. So at the
Hmm.
very least, if it's either just me or just me and my wife, but I would not feel comfortable bringing my kids there at all right now.
Hmm. So, do you have a favorite, strip or a favorite series of strips that you just kind of feel like encapsulate your relationship with your daughter?
You know what? I think I do. I am the Croc McStuffins ones, where she pretends to be a doctor.
Hmm.
I because my daughter had like a doctor phase, and like it was insane. Like I would try to work, or I'd be doing something, and all of a sudden checkup and and getting a fake checkup by a 4 year old in a year in which you were actually in the hospital is not a lot of fun.
It's a lot of poking in places that not supposed to be.
It is, and you know how it is. Like the tool she wants to use is not the tool that she would need. So like you have like a thermometer, and you get like clocked upside the knee with a thermometer or something, and that's not how it's supposed to work. But but yeah, man, I love those. The ones about doing hair,
Hmm.
I like those. Even though like I'm just horrible with the hair. Like my wife does that, I can't.
Now,
Um,
has there been, like something that happened that, you're like, this would make the perfect comic strip, but it's just, too much, or, I just can't go there.
There's one actually. There's one. I was at funny. I was actually recording another podcast, and my daughter like ran into my office area, and she had like lost all of her clothes. I don't know what happened, and I just looked over and I'm like, "Where are your clothes?" And I don't know why she thought to do that, and my the podcast host, like a good friend of mine, he told me I should make that a comic, and I'm thinking I should, but I don't know if I can go there. That might
Yeah.
be a bit too much. That might be like my limit. Um, but that's like the one that like that's at my limit.
I, I
It would be hilarious, but I don't know if I can get away with that. I don't know if I can do that.
I kind of enjoy the current one where, with the where you're, telling her about the heat, turning up the heat. Well, my son tends to, even at 5 years old, tends to like to run around El Natural in winter, and it's like,
Like,
my wife and I,
jeez,
my wife and I are, sweatshirts and stuff like that, and he's just, you know,
like
oh
yeah, just like yeah, like why are you not cold?
uh,
But no, that one came about due to like not anything that my daughter did, but like there were like a bunch of memes going around about just like thermostats, and there's always the funny joke that dads don't like it when you touch the thermostat. So that was kind of like my play on that
yeah.
trope.
Now, do you? I mean, do you see a, maybe a end for this series, or, and it's probably not going to be Beware of the Teenage. It could be Beware of the Teenager. That could be interesting.
With that, okay, so what because a lot of people ask me that, and what I've done was I kind of want to keep it like The Simpsons, where like
Hmm.
nobody ages,
Okay.
because in my mind, is that this is about a daughter, this is about a stay-at-home dad and this toddler, and a lot of the people are reading it can compare them to their own daughters, their own
Hmm.
toddlers, and then what's going to happen is their kids are going to get older, and while my toddler may not grow with them, other people are going to have kids and they're going to have
Hmm.
toddlers come in. While those people with their older kids can still remember, hey, remember when you did this as a kid? So it's like I can kind of keep because a lot of people like relate to this comic. A lot of people relate to this comic. So I kind of want to keep it like that, where people can relate to this comic. And I think that age is just like the age to be at.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I may do like I've done this before, but like some one offs in which the characters are different ages.
Yeah, I noticed the one with Alexa where
Yeah, the
they
Terminator one.
that was kind of funny.
That one was fun. I did an April Fool's joke uh, announcing a fake comic called Beware Senior, and the idea of like the Tyler is now a senior citizen, and and a lot of people thought it was real. So I may do like one-off things just like for fun, just to kind
Mhm.
of test this to see how people react. But all in all, it'll probably be like she's 2 years old 95% of the time.
Now, is she aware that you kind of, you know are,
Yes,
does she get some of the
yes.
royalties, or is that her college
I
fund?
mean, what royalties yet? I haven't made anything just yet.
Well, you're going to. I feel it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, but no. She's aware that it's based on her. Yeah, even though I've been trying to like kind of separate that for a while.
Okay. So, do you want to kind of talk about the Kickstarter? Do you have the details of what people can get for their to support your project?
Yes. I don't think I've actually told anybody yet.
Well,
So
I can release this when it's when the Kickstarter launches. So
okay. Well, either way, you'll still be like one of the first. So, of course, I'm gonna have like digital books,
Mhm.
as well as physical. Um, I'm going to offer like I've signed copies, um, prints. I want to do stickers.
Mhm.
Um, I'm going to offer digital copies of my previous 3 books, as well as a book that I worked on earlier this year,
Okay.
and I was the artist on. Um, I have one tier. I'm going to it's basically a commission in which I draw the backer or the backer's kid or whoever the backer wants as a Tyler in a comic style. And then to one up that one, I'm going to create comics specifically for the backers. Like it'll be like if you were a Tyler starring that backer as a Tyler and their parents, or that backer's Tyler and them.
Hmm.
Kind of like their own very own Beware Tyler based on their own lives.
Very nice.
So that was going to be fun. I really I've done it before for a
Yeah.
couple people, so I know for a fact that that's something I really want to do. Um, I'm still trying. I've got those are like the main ones. I'm still kind of brainstorming things just to see like what else someone might want.
Hmm.
Maybe like process videos or whatnot. Like this is literally my very first Kickstarter, so I don't really know what I'm doing for the most part. I've got some good friends that's been helping me out, and I've been like really studying like other Kickstarters like similar to my own. So
Hmm.
I hope I'll be okay.
No, I think if I think you will be, because again, I like I said, I don't remember how exactly I came across the strip, but once I is like, is he watching? It's like almost like
Oh
I,
man, if I had $1 for every time someone's told me that, I wouldn't need a Kickstarter. But I love it. I love it because it's something we all have in common. Like all of us parents, we all go through the same stuff as parents. It's crazy. And if I can capture that, and if I can capture a comic that is technically all ages,
hmm.
but for parents, and that parents can relate to and laugh to, and at the same time be able to show that parenting is not easy and pretty, but it's not terrible either.
Yeah, somebody lied to me. Somebody said, have a kid, it'll be fun.
There are fun moments,
Yeah, there are,
but
yes.
like playing with your kid is fun. Like you know, huddling away, shoving away your kid while you're recording the video is not so much fun. I may or may not have done it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there are positives and negatives, but but I think the goods outweigh the bads.
Yeah.
But the bads can be funny.
Yeah. Well, I went to a thing at my son's school, and we were just kind of the parents and the other parents talking to the other parents in the class, and they were like, "Yeah, our kid, after they get home, they're like so tired, and their personality just changes." I was like, "I'm glad I'm not the only one who has to deal with uh, you know, a kid who's most of the time he's the sweetest kid. I love him, but in the evenings after he gets home from school, he's so tired because he doesn't nap. Just
Yes. Yeah, man, and when they're tired, it's like a whole other monster. Like I think I did a comic about that. Like when they're tired, they're the worst. In fact, not I'm actually thinking about a comic about like a kid going to school and coming back, I may actually write that one.
Yeah. Well, feel free to. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be willing to consult with you on that one.
Oh yeah.
But so, is there anything else you'd like to mention about the webcomic, or about what you do that maybe we didn't talk about? Or
Well, see, we've got the Kickstarter and the Ringo. Those are like the big things right now. There's some other things down the line that I really need to work on, but
Mhm. Well,
right now,
we'll
yeah.
gladly have you back to talk about those when you can.
Oh yeah, I'm in. But yeah, Toddlerhood, November 2nd. The page is up right now if you want to sign up for updates.
Mhm.
And you can. I've got the link everywhere on my Toddler page. It's on my personal page. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter, Instagram, maybe Reddit. I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, anyone interested in the book can actually sign up to be notified from when it goes live.
There we go.
Yes, there we go. And we've got 80 followers in the last day, so that's pretty okay.
No,
Not,
I think you're gonna be fine, because it's a great uh, comic, and it appeals to people on so many different levels, and you've kind of seemed to have captured that magic or whatever, and in whatever you've are able to put on the page.
thank
More
you.
than I can do.
Thank you. I tried. I I'm always worried when I post comics. And I'm like, what if people don't like this? Like, what if people don't like this comic? And that's almost never the case. But I'm always terrified.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
So
I completely understand. So, I guess your handle on Twitter is in your sign, and I'll definitely include it into the show notes and all that stuff when
yeah,
it's
it's,
time.
Beware Tyler, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or Geo Gant Art. That's like my personal stuff.
Hmm.
Mostly a lot of the same stuff with like other extra art because I like video games and I like fan art and doing things like that. But it's still mostly Tyler stuff.
Hmm. All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time this evening and to talk about your uh, your work, and best of luck this weekend, and best of luck on your Kickstarter, and well, I'll help push it any way I can.
Thank you.
Um, and yeah, definitely, whenever you want to come back and you know talk about whatever you're working on, then love to have you back, and been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. I'd love to come back.
And you and your family stay healthy and stay safe, and
Mhm.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully.
Thanks, man. Yeah, fingers crossed. But you
Yeah.
and yours as well, because I know it's rough.
All right. Well, have a good evening, and I'll let you get back to your family.
Please don't.
No, please don't. Perfect sign off. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.